Ferguson versus Guardiola. Who is the best? If we establish a comparison between how football was 50, 60, or 70 years ago with the modern-day iteration of the sport, we find that the role of the manager has been gaining much more prominence, to the point of almost being the difference between the success and failure of a team, often even downplaying what the players do on the pitch. This phenomenon has occurred mainly in the last 15 years where, for example, clubs have been seen to pay the termination clause of a manager, or where they are offered contracts at the level of the world's top players. All this is a clear reflection of the importance of the work of a football manager in the current game. In this particular regard, we can identify Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola as two of the main people responsible for this, whose work and success at the head of their clubs have brought them worldwide recognition, ranking them, for some, as the best in history. But who is the best between the two of them? Well, let's discuss it as we begin a brief summary of both their careers. Pep Guardiola. Guardiola had a good career as a player, mainly with FC Barcelona, becoming part of Johan Cruyff's dream team, although he also played in Italy, Qatar and Mexico, where he was managed by Juan Manuel Leo, who Pep himself considers one of his mentors, and who is currently his assistant at Manchester City. The Catalan began his managerial career at the Barcelona Academy, also known as Barcelona B, where he achieved promotion to the second division in his first year, and from where he would quickly make the leap to the first team. In his first season as manager of FC Barcelona, he managed to win 6 titles, with a style focused on ball possession that was innovative at the time and that caught the attention of the world. After a 4-year stage at FC Barcelona, he would go on to coach Bayern Munich in Germany, where he would dominate domestically, although he would not be successful at the European level. Finally, in 2016, he signed with Manchester City, a club with which he remains to this day and with whom he has managed to win everything in England. Alex Ferguson. The Scotsman had a prolific playing career, in which he was a striker who went on to play for one of the country's greats, Glasgow Rangers. As a manager, he started at the age of 32 by briefly managing East Stirlingshire, although he would quickly move on to St Mirren, where he managed to win the First Division, the second tier of Scottish football. Then he would arrive at Aberdeen, where he would conquer all possible titles in Scotland and even in Europe, winning the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1983 against Real Madrid and the European Super Cup against Hamburg. That Aberdeen team is, to this day, the last team to win the Scottish League that isn't Celtic or Rangers. After a brief stint with the Scotland national team, he would sign with Manchester United. He would remain with the Red Devils for 27 years, achieving all possible titles on several occasions, and transforming a team in crisis into one of the best in Europe. Comparison. Titles. Both managers have had successful careers, winning almost every tournament they have played. Being very strict and demanding, we can give the Scotsman a bit of an advantage because he managed to turn a club like Aberdeen into a very competitive team at European level, while Guardiola hasn't accomplished a feat of that nature, based on the fact that his entire managerial career has been at top clubs on the continent, where obtaining titles can be a little easier. Playing style. Beyond the opinion that Guardiola's possession game may generate, which can sometimes be a bit boring because it takes him to an exaggerated point, the reality is that the Catalan has marked an era in terms of the way of playing football since the appearance of his FC Barcelona. Ferguson had a less defined style, but mostly oriented to attacking football. Player development. To exemplify this point, we can use the 2 best players in the world in the last decade, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. The Portuguese went from being a very skilled winger with a lot of polish to being the tremendous scorer who has broken so many records that we know today, mostly thanks to Ferguson's guidance and coaching in the former's early days of his career. In the case of the Argentine, Guardiola began to use him as a false 9, and that gave Messi greater freedom, and that helped him a lot to be the world star that he became. Although these are the most important players, we can also name the likes of Andreas Iniesta, Wayne Rooney, Joshua Kimmich, and Paul Scholes, among many others. Consistency. This is another aspect in which there is very little difference, since both have remained fairly constant in their careers, winning titles almost annually. Although here we should highlight the fact that Ferguson was able to maintain and reinvent himself for 27 years at the same club. Guardiola, on his part, has stated that from his perspective, it is very exhausting and difficult to manage a team after a period of 4 or 5 years, which gives greater merit to what the Scotsman has done during his career. Signings. This is an aspect that is very relative because both have had success and failures in their signings, but it should be said that Guardiola has made large investments that have not been entirely profitable, especially in Manchester City and more specifically in defence. Ferguson had great success in high-profile signings such as Roy Keane, Cantona, Van Persie or Berbatov to name a few. To close the article, it must be said that both are among the best managers in the history of football without a doubt, and in the case of Guardiola, he still has many more years left in his career, so it remains to be seen what other things he can achieve, or if on the other hand the best of him has already been seen. So we tend to lean to Ferguson because of the level of consistency that he showed during his career, and how he managed to maintain a great level of performance at Manchester United for so long.